There are 5 moves that separate pros and expert riders from everyone else, and I guarantee you're not doing at least 3 of them. Now, when you practice technique or body positions, you'll always feel a little stiff and a little lost under all the information your brain tries to process. It will always feel like you're chasing one step behind the bike. It's no fun, it's dangerous. This is a new way my team has developed, and I promise you it will make you feel that confident, wild feeling of controlled chaos on the bike again and again and again, just like when you were a kid. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dave Davidson. I'm on a mission to solve the crash crisis by restoring athleticism. If you're with me, subscribe to the channel now and share this video with a group of riders in a forum or a Facebook group. We need more riders seeing this so they're not stuck and they're safe. Now, these 5 moves I'm about to show you look unrelated, but I will tie it together because there's one principle at the end that we're going to cover that'll show you how they all work together. Now, move number 1 is the preload. Here's what most riders do when they approach a jump or a roller or any kind of lip. They stay really neutral. Maybe they compress a little or they let the feature launch them however it wants. Pros do something completely different. They load the bike before the lip and they're pushing down and compressing their body and creating tension in their legs and in the bike suspension right before the transition. Then they extend through the lip, timing the triple extension to match the terrain. This preload sounds like something you think you're doing, but you're probably not. It's the difference between being a passenger and being a pilot. And now watch the pro hit a jump. Their compression starts way before the lip. They're loading energy into their body and the bike. Then at the lip, they release that energy and extend. They're not just getting launched by the jump. They're using the jump as a platform to push off of. Now, this is a bigger jump. If you look at a smaller jump, they do this, but it's faster and the timing is different. So you need to practice this in a way where you're timing the pressure and you're actually doing compression and not just absorption. Now, watch most recreational riders. They'll roll into the jump, no preparation, they stay kind of static. The lip hits them and they go wherever physics decides to send them. No control over trajectory, no control over height, just along for the ride and hoping for the best. This is where most crashes happen because new bikes give you a lot of forgiveness, but they can only go so far. That's why 5, 7, 10-foot jumps that feel like 2 or 3 foot jumps end up making a crash. Now, this preload, it gives you control. It lets you choose how high you go, how far you go, what angle you leave at. It turns a jump from something that happens to you into a tool that you use deliberately. So watch this jump closely. I want you to watch my hips, not my bike. See that little compression right there before the lip? That's maybe a few inches of downward drive. Now watch the extension. My hips pop right as I hit the transition, and look at the height that I get. I'm not going super fast. That's not the jump necessarily launching me. That's me using the jump as a springboard to get my torso in the air and get my preload to equal way more air than the feature alone. So here's how to practice this. Find a small roller or a mellow jump, something with no consequences, and ride on it just coasting, staying really neutral. In fact, you want to go slower than you think you do. I want you to feel how the terrain dictates the forces going up. Now, ride it again. This time, push down into the bike right before the roller. Load your legs and feel the suspension compress. Then as you hit the lip, extend those legs. Push through your feet and let your hips drive upward. Most riders mess this up and they kind of yank their torso backwards and push through their feet just a little bit. You need to do triple extension, not herky-jerkying your torso up in the air. Just take a look at this video, it demonstrates it. If you get on flat ground and you jump and you launch in the air, you'll feel what it feels like. Do that. So the terrain didn't throw you, you used it if you do it the right way. Now, I'll be honest with you, most of you watching this won't be able to do what I just described. This is literally because your body can't execute it yet. Your hips are too tight, your hamstrings are not activating, your timing is off, and the posterior chain is not firing. So no amounts of YouTube videos will fix this. You need to build your athleticism first. So keep watching, I'll show you what that means. Move number 2, torso tracking. When a pro rides through rough terrain, rocks, roots, chunk, chaos, just watch what happens between the impacts. Most riders, they brace for impact, they take the hit, then they brace for the next impact, take that hit. They're pinballing through the rough stuff, constantly getting knocked around, constantly absorbing, never resetting. By the end of the section, they're so out of position, they're basically surviving and not riding, and it sucks, it feels stiff. So pros do something totally different. So between impacts, they actively recover their position and they don't just absorb and wait for the next hit. They use these tiny windows between features to reset their body, recenter their mass, and prepare for what's next. So this is called torso tracking. It's where the torso stays as still as it relatively needs to, and everything on the bike just dances around under you. And so you put your torso down a path that's nice and smooth. And it's what keeps pros looking smooth when the trail looks like a war zone. And if you want to think about this, let's use the example of boxing. So an amateur will, take a punch and just try to survive until the next one, and then throw a punch really off balance and get their face beat in. It's pretty bad. A pro though, they'll take a punch, reset their stance, get their hands back up, pop, recenter their balance, all in a fraction of a second. They're recovering between every single exchange, but they never leave their balance. Same thing on a bike. On a bike, this looks like small movements happening constantly with a little hip shift here, a slight weight adjustment there, arms extending back to neutral, weight recentering over the bottom bracket. It's subtle, it's just nonstop. So take a look at this rock garden section. I want you to watch my torso first, not the bike. Do you see how my body keeps coming back to center, or it never really leaves after each and every hit? So I'm not absorbing impacts with my body, I'm recovering movement around a still body. Each rock might move me a little bit, but I immediately start working back towards a balanced or ready position. And just watch how many resets there are. There's probably 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 in a 3-second section here. And most riders, they don't do this because, again, they're too tense. They're too braced for impact, and they stay braced. Their muscles are locked. There's no movement available for recovery because all their range of motion is used up just hanging on, and they don't use their body suspension. Now, here's a side note. The best suspension that you have is your arms and legs, even if you're 4.5 feet tall. It's still more and better suspension than anything you can buy on the market. So using your body first will help you get more out of your bike. Now, if you're getting beaten up in rough terrain, it's probably not the impacts themselves. It's that you're not recovering between them. You're taking hit after hit with no reset. And the end of the section, you're just a passenger trying not to crash. So I suggest you find a curb, a little bitty curb, or a rock, or a root, just one of them, and ride over it, just medium, like a slow jogging speed, and find a way to manage those forces smoothly, and find a way to do this with just one mini obstacle. 1, not 5, not 10. This is something that we do when we train professional athletes. We don't do it for very long with them, but what we do is we isolate this one concept. This way you can focus on exactly the one thing, that one technique, and nothing else. Then train this by riding chunky terrain and consciously thinking about what you learned when you're going over that one bump. Now, after every impact, actively try to recenter. Ask yourself, where's my weight? Am I ready for the next hit? It'll feel awkward at first because you're making conscious what should be automatic, but with some practice, your body starts recovering on its own without you thinking about it, which is nice. Move number 3 is the hip screw. Now, this one surprises people because it goes against what most riders have been taught, which is how do you actually steer a bike? Most riders would say with the handlebars, and this is true at low speeds when you're going like a mile or 2 an hour. When you turn the bars, the front wheel does turn and the bike does go in that direction, but experts know that's only part of the story. And I have seen your comments. Everyone talks about counter steer. Counter steer is a minor part of this. The big thing that's going to have the biggest impact on you is going to be the hip screw. That means you need to steer with your hips, but I'm going to explain it in a way that maybe you haven't heard of before. So you want to go where your weight is centered, and when you shift your hips, you shift your center of mass and the bike responds. But since we're going in a turn, we're also dealing with a change of direction. So pushing your hips to the left isn't enough. Weight going left, bike goes left, no. So what we need to do instead, it's all about the hip screw. And so how the pros make tiny adjustments without upsetting the bike, they actually just twist on top of the bike and also swing their hips out to keep their weight centered, okay? So watching a pro navigating a tight technical section, their bars are relatively quiet, but watching their hips, they're constantly moving. They're shifting left, they're shifting right, they're weighting, they're unweighting, they're steering from their center of mass, not with their hands. Now, here's what blew my mind when I figured this out. All those years, I thought I was actually steering with my bars and just like carving around. I was actually fighting my hips. My hips wanted to go one way, my bars were going another, and I was muscling through, and there was just conflict the whole time. The moment I let my hips lead, the bars, they just kind of followed. It was like the bike suddenly weighed half as much and everything got easier. It was pretty cool. So I wasn't fighting the bike anymore because I stopped creating the fight in the first place. So why does the hip screw matter? 2 reasons. First, it's faster. 1, hip movements contain and they preserve your balance, and they open up bike movement. You can make micro adjustments at speed without the big input of turning the bars. And second, it's more stable. When you turn the bars aggressively, you're going to upset the front end and the bike will get squirrely without moving your body. Now you're fighting your bike. When you steer with your hips, the bike stays nice and planted. Here's where most riders go completely wrong. They've been told to stay centered on the bike, keep your weight neutral, don't lean, and they interpret this as keeping their hips frozen in one spot. And that's not what good riding looks like. One body position, it's not a static pose, it's dynamic movement, it's a relationship with the bike. And the best riders, they're constantly moving their hips, constantly adjusting their weight, constantly steering from their center. Your hips and the bike, they need to become one system. You think about where you want to go, your hips shift, the bike responds. It's not two separate things, it's you and the bike moving together, while also sometimes pointing in different directions. Now, I want you to save this video for later right now, and the next time you have your bike under you, I want you to play this part back. So follow along, don't turn the bars, don't touch the front brake, just what we want to do is get on the bike, move the front of the bike over here, put your other foot down, one other foot on the pedal, one foot on the ground, and just twist your hips and tilt that bike over. I know you can't see it very well. I'll put a video right here where I'm doing this. When you feel it, what you're gonna notice is that your body turns one way and the bike stays turned another way. But now I can push into the bike this way, which pushes my weight this way, which is what we wanna do when we turn. Does that make sense? Like, can you feel that? Now you can start blending this with bar input and suddenly you have twice as many steering tools available. So you just need a little bit of counter steer if you want to exaggerate this before you do it. And you can also make small adjustments as you're steering down the trail. Let's take a look at this section of trail. I want you to watch my hips, not my hands. See, my hips they're working, constant small adjustments. The bars are relatively stable. The steering is coming from my center. The bike follows where my hips tell it to go. Move number 4 is the ghost over. This is the move that creates that magical floating feeling you see when pros ride rough terrain, like they're somehow not subject to the same physics as the rest of us. Here's what's happening and how you can do it too. When a pro approaches an obstacle, a rock, a root, a square edge, they release pressure from the bike right before impact and they allow it to move up into them. In other words, they absorb the movement using a still torso relative to the path they're taking. They unweight, they get light. The bike skims over the obstacle instead of smashing into it. This is the ghost over, and it's the exact opposite of what most riders do instinctively. Now, most riders, they see an obstacle and they brace, they tense up, they push down, they try to muscle through it, and the bike, it crashes into that rock or root with all their weight driving down. Harsh impact, slowed momentum, beat up hands, beat up body, not fun. Pros, they get light right before impact and they just let the bike ghost over it. Then they put the pressure back down on the other side to smooth things over. Now think about this like running towards a curb on your feet. If you were to smash your foot as hard as you can into the curb like this and then roll over, wouldn't you feel a lot of pressure on your foot? Now imagine again just going really, really light, and instead of smashing your foot like this into the curb, imagine if you were running and just rolled your foot over like this. It'd be pretty light. So imagine also like thinking about how your knees and your hips might move to get the foot to land right here. It's the exact same thing as on a bike. This is why I talk a lot about precision jumps. They're the very easy thing to do. You can do 5 or 10 of them a week and just do a small jump 2-3 feet out, and you can practice precision jumps and precision landing like a cat. And this way you can just really build the muscle memory off the bike. It's the same thing on the bike. You don't want your weight driving into that obstacle. You want your weight to pass over it as smoothly as possible, like a ghost. Now, here's the nuance that most riders, they will miss. This isn't just pulling up on the bars. That's what most riders try, and it doesn't work well. You yank up, but the front comes up, and all your weight is still crashing the back into the obstacle. So you've only solved half the problem, and now you've got a new one because the force of the back wheel, you know, it travels through the bike and into your body, and now you got to hold on. And it just feels really tense. So instead, you want to compress slightly before the obstacle and maybe extend your arms and legs, let the bike rise up under you. Or what you want to do is just passively absorb the forces by allowing the hands and the arms and the legs to move, okay? This means the bike might bounce, it means the bike might compress, it means the bike might stay kind of level and the suspension takes it. It doesn't really matter. Let the bike do what the bike's going to do, but make sure that you allow movement in the arms and the legs. Let's also take a look at this section of roots. I want you to watch the space between my body and the bike. Do you see how the gap changes just a little bit? I'm releasing a little bit of pressure right before each root. And if you see the gap kind of open up, that's me absorbing the force of the bike coming up to me. Now, when the bike skims over the root, I'm putting pressure back down between them. And the bike does move up and down a lot. My body does stay smooth. That's the ghost over. Now let's watch even closer. It's really the ankles that are moving the most. I'm allowing this movement, and I'm not trying to make this happen. I don't really think about this, but if you can get this to where you can get your ankles to kind of flutter like this over the bumps, this move requires a lot of athleticism. You might not have it yet, but this is the one you want to try to achieve, and I believe you can do it. If you're watching this channel, we're all about it. So again, thank you. Move number 5 is future mapping. Okay, you've heard look where you want to go 1,000 times, so why aren't you doing it? Because nobody told you the real problem. It's not that you forget to look ahead. You need to get your survival brain to stop hijacking your eyes the moment you get scared. In other words, fear literally pulls your vision down to the threat. This is why telling someone to just look ahead might be a little bit useless advice. The conscious brain does want to look ahead, their survival brain won't let them. So what the pros and expert riders do is something that you probably haven't yet, which is training the nervous system to stay calm enough to keep the eyes free and under control. So this means that your vision won't fight your fear response. You're not going to white knuckle the way down, and you're going to have a lot of fun. So when you're genuinely relaxed and your eyes go where they need to go, it can be a real eye-opener. Man, if you stayed this long, that was definitely worth it, right? Leave me a like. Go watch a pro ride. Their head is up, their physiology and their neurology is open, and they're looking for what's next, okay? If you look at a rider that's scared, they tend to ball up like this, and they get really small on the bike. A lot of times you'll see elbows dropped, knees come in, and the body just gets kind of small and compact. That's a sign that the neurological system is in fight or flight, and we're just trying to turtle down and hide in our shell. Recreational riders are kind of like hobbyists. They're just kind of looking at their front wheel and looking right in front of them. So when your vision is reactive like this, you will always be one step behind the bike, and ultimately you'll never achieve your goals on your bike, and the stuff that you really want to do will not be, you can't access it. That's why this matters so much. Your body follows your eyes, and it's not some kind of metaphor, it's neurology. Your brain uses visual input to plan motor output. Where you look literally determines what movement your body makes. Okay, this is like incredibly important. So here's what you need to do. You need to become a relaxed rider, and you need to future pace the next 2 seconds. So go out, and this is different from what everyone else is telling you. Don't practice looking ahead on hard terrain. That's too hard because your fear response will overpower your intention every time. Instead, I want you to go to some easy terrain. I'm talking fire roads, single track, stuff that doesn't scare you at all. On the easy terrain, train your eyes to constantly live 2 seconds ahead. Start riding faster. Imagine some trees, ride around some imaginary trees, and put your vision on specific objects around those imaginary trees. You know, just kind of weave down that fire road and gradually increase difficulty. Start taking it to easy trails where there's some mild turns. You got to look around. Start looking at trails where you've got some downhills and you're looking ahead and planning for the next thing. As you gradually increase difficulty, your nervous system will start to generalize rather than freak out all the time. So the habit of forward vision, it becomes stronger for you, and your fear response that pulls the eyes down will diminish over time. Check me out right in this section. I want you to watch my eyes, not my bike. If you can see where I'm looking way ahead. The bike handles the rocks. My eyes are already on what's coming next, and I'm living in a future like 2 seconds ahead. Now, real quick, which one of these 5 do you struggle with the most? I want you to drop a comment below. I want to do a deeper dive on the one with the most frequent struggles out there, and we'll go deeper on it for you guys. Now, here's what I promised you at the beginning. The one principle that connects all 5 of these moves is athleticism and bike-body connection. I want you to think about it. You can watch technique videos forever. You can study frame by frame footage until your eyes bleed, but if your body can't execute the movements, if your hips are tight, your core's weak, your posterior chain doesn't fire, none of it matters. You'll know exactly what to do and be completely unable to do it. Now, there's a small group of riders out there that get this, and when I work with them, this is most of what they focus on. It's crazy to see the transformations that regular riders get when they break the intermediate plateau and start accessing fluidity and confidence as an advanced rider. Now, there is one more move that I didn't have time to make the training on in this video, so it's called dynamic core stability. So if you want that one, put a comment below and I'll send it to you. Just make sure you're subscribed. We'll get it out to you. Now, if you're watching this and thinking to yourself, I want to make all these moves. I want to stop riding like an amateur and start moving like the experts do, here's what to do. Click the link below. It's a link to apply for the Athlete Accelerator. It's our flagship program where we do a 1-year intensive to restore your athleticism, dial in your technique, and build the confidence you need to ride fast forever. We're not just teaching you moves, we're building the body that can make those moves automatically. We're creating that bike-body connection that separates the pros from everybody else. If that's interesting to you, apply below to see if you qualify, and I'll see you on the other side. Thanks.